Hi, everyone. Kevin A. Davis over here at Ink Pub. We're a small press, deals mainly with anthologies, but we are opening up to, we are going to be publishing some novels out here from some friends of mine and other people who have pitched. So look forward to that soon. With me today, I have Mark. Mark, would you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you and your writing.
Sure. My name is Marc Sorondo. I write predominantly horror stories, although I dabble in some other genres. And I've been doing, I've been getting published for about 10 years-ish, in anthologies and whatnot. Um, and I was very happy to have a story published in the most recently released, horror anthology by Inked Publishing, which I was really happy to be a part of.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on here. We definitely get some good stories with you. Um, so I know you've got other pieces coming out, and you had mentioned one from, was it Vigilante?
Yeah, Vigilante, their first like inaugural issue is coming out, and they've got some big names in there. Joe Lansdale is one of the big ones that I am familiar with and have read as a fan. And so it's really exciting for me to share a table of contents with him. And it seems like what they're trying to do is really cool. They're trying to bring back a lot of the old sort of pulpy crime stories. So mine obviously leans more towards like horror, but they're really trying to get like the full gamut of different kinds of crime stories, and sort of bring something back. So I'm pretty excited to be a part of that one.
Oh, so what was your story on that one?
It's called Legend Tripping. It's about sort of high school kids who travel. I grew up in New Jersey, so we're in New Jersey, and we had Clinton Road was the big one where you go at night and allegedly there'd be ghosts and this and that. So they go to do that on Halloween, and things don't go according to plan. I'll put it that way.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun. So we'll be looking for that up on your social media to share. So what projects are you now? You mainly do short form, not
Mostly, I do have a couple longer pieces that I'm Holloway, who's again, he's kind of in Vampire Hunter D and a few other people in a blender. That's what would come out. So I do some stuff with him that's longer, uh,
okay.
but mostly short stories. Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Um, so right now, I'm working on like a nautical. I anticipate it being sort of like novella length, but it's too early to tell. But I do write a lot of stuff that has to do with the ocean. I don't know why that is, to be honest, but get a lot of inspiration there.
well, New Jersey, you're right next to it, pretty much every.
Yeah. So
And your preferred is definitely horror. Is that something that came up
yeah,
from childhood, or is it something new?
you know what? I've been reading horror since I was tiny. I was a very early Stephen King fan. I got in trouble for reading Stephen King when I was in elementary school, and that is what I latched onto. I have a love-hate relationship when it comes to horror movies, to be honest with you, because I feel like 90% of them end up being terrible. I still watch them all to try to find those gems that pop up, but horror novels have a much better track record, in my opinion. But yeah, I've always loved it. I mean, I will read other genres and I do dabble in other genres here and there, but it's 95% horror.
Okay. Any what's next on your plate? Are there's any submissions you're really looking at for where you want to pitch? What,
Um,
what's your next project?
yeah, I am hoping actually to get one for you guys if I can finish up before November. I'd like to get another one in the next sort of spooky anthology. And I've got a couple things out that I'm waiting to hear back on.
Okay.
Uh, I have a couple slightly longer ones that run around 10,000 words that don't they're not really horror. They don't really fit in any genre that well. So I'm having trouble with those. So I need to find the right call for those two. I have one. One's about like a research scientist spending time at sea, and one is about an old like fearsome critters legend from lumberjacks. So they're kind of odd ducks. But I had fun writing them, so I'm hoping to see them get published at some point.
But they still edge on horror, or are they moving out?
Um, they slightly, but less so than some of the other stuff that's very straightforward. The one is how do I even phrase it? It's almost literary. It's just really about this like academic trying to find, this like quote sea monster, but from a scientific perspective. But there is that element of like things in the deep. And um, so I feel like even when I do other genres, there's that like little twinge of horror that pops up.
Yeah, yeah. There is actually, romance horror. You could work there. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so of your present and future projects, what's your favorite? What's your excitement? Um,
Favorite.
of stuff. I guess Vigilante would certainly be one because you're getting
That's
in.
a big one. Um,
Was that your big excitement at present, or
right now it is, yeah, because and I've been working with the editor a lot back and forth, like really kind of honing that story. And I think it's supposed to come out right before Halloween. I think it's the 27th or 28th. So that's like currently the focus. But I've got a couple other ones I've been really proud of. I had a bourbon pen story years back. Um, that it was again, it was another weird one where it was kind of there were it was actually a story about a woman attempting to commit suicide, but it not going the way she expected. Um, and that was a cool one, and that's a venue that I'm really kind of proud to have been featured in. And that was actually available for free online if you wanted to read that one.
all
Uh, what else? What other big ones? Yeah, I mean, I'm still such a rookie. I get excited about every publication. It's hard to like pick which ones are better or worse. I sit there scribbling away at night. It always ends up being late at night when I can write. So anytime one gets sees the light of day, I get really excited.
right. So let's talk about your writing process a little bit. I'm assuming you have a job that takes most of your
Yeah, I'm a teacher. So
feature. Okay,
yeah, I get a
so
lot more writing done over the summer months than the 10 months of the school year. But
so what do you do during the school year? Do you get a chance to like, are you weekend, half an hour before this, lunch times? What do you do?
yeah, so well, I have six kids also of my own. We have a big family. So during the day is really rough. So I do a lot of writing kind of like before bed at night.
Okay,
Um, I do a little bit of reading, I'll do a little bit of writing, and I will just during the school months kind of chip away. It ends up being kind of slow. And then over the summer I will write furiously for 3 months and um get a lot done. But I feel like as long as I'm always doing a little bit, it's okay.
yeah,
But yeah, it's always like I'm literally laying in bed with a notebook. I'm very old school. My first drafts are always handwritten out.
nice.
Um, I do my first round of revisions, typing it for the first time. I'll like realize I want to tweak something. So that portability of the notebook, yeah, I can bring it anywhere. So I'll bring it to school, and if I have 10 minutes, I'll scribble a little bit, or I'll do it in bed while I'm getting the 3-year-old to sleep, things like that. So
All right. Um, do you get a chance to read it all?
same thing, mostly at night. Yeah, people always laugh at me because they're like, "You got to be tired." And I'm like, "I can't go to bed if I don't read a little bit. It might only be 3 pages that day, but um, I always read." Yeah.
So what do you like to read? What kind of,
My reading is more varied than my writing, to be honest with you. 'Cause I do read a lot of nonfiction mixed in with the fiction. Um, so I tend to kind of go back and forth. I'll read a couple of novels or a couple of books of short stories, and then I'll read some nonfiction for a while. And then nonfiction really runs the gamut because I'm just kind of think every area is fascinating, and I end up getting a lot of story ideas from just reading random books.
yep.
Um, but right now it's October, so I'm just reading a bunch of Halloween books. I just finished The Halloween Fiend by Hunt, which was pretty fun. That was a little short one. Now I'm reading a book of short stories by Keelan Patrick Burke that are all again like fall themed. Um, my favorite Halloween book though is A Night in a Lonesome October by Roger Zelazny. Great book. It's set up so that each chapter is one day of the month of October leading up to Halloween. It brings in all these old horror influences. Um, so that's a really fun book for those of you out there who are looking for something to read.
Well, I was going to ask for recommendation, and you just gave it. So,
Oh well, yeah, that's certainly for Halloween. It's like I heard somebody once describe it as a Halloween Advent book, wherein it's set up that structure, which I really liked.
yeah,
Uh, but then yeah, other recommendations. I love Something Wicked This Way Comes by Bradbury. I love Bradbury. Pretty much anything by Stephen King. And I was actually talking to somebody earlier today about because he was trying to come up with his like top 10 list, and I said Ghost Story by Peter Straub is such a fantastic book that like I read probably 10 years ago and it still sticks with me really constantly. I kind of come back to that book a lot. So that's right at the top of my list of recommendations.
Yeah, I've been after I did a convention with him. I've been reading Grady Hendrix,
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
and it's just I mean, very newer style, uh,
Hmm.
more contemporary, than a lot of the stuff that I've read in the past. But yeah, some of the stuff just absolutely been really rather intense. Good quality character emotion kind of stuff that I get into more than I do, too much of it. And it just builds so nice and thickly. So anyway, that's someone I've been reading as of late.
He has a great ability to use humor in a book that's still terrifying too. I love it. Like I have and have not yet read his newest one, but I remember reading How to Sell a Haunted House.
Yep.
There were
Yep.
so many absurd, like hysterical aspects to that book, but it was still really terrifying. I feel like that's a really hard thing to pull off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the souls and stuff. So yeah, good stuff. And it's fun to just sort of get out there, and I read very cross genre, a lot, so, but again, we own a bookstore. Wife does a lot of book clubs. So I do a lot of, recommendations. I'm for my table reads when I'm at conventions, I'm reading Carl Highsman. Um, and the pitch would be, a PI investigates corrupt bass fishing, which sounds like the most boring possible book I could ever read, but yet it's been a great read, but I'm only reading it at my table.
Oh,
Very mystery and kind of that piece. So things.
man.
Do you get a chance to do conferences or conventions at all?
You know what? Unfortunately, no. At this point, I haven't been able to. Mostly just because there's so many other facets of my life pulling at time. Uh, there's actually one that I just heard about right by me because I'm actually now I live in New York. I'm right over the border in the Hudson Valley, and there's a like a Hudson Valley conference
Yeah,
at Air Mountain, and I was like, oh, I would love to do that, but I have multiple obligation things with some of my kids helping out at places, so I couldn't do it. So I'm hoping next year,
yeah.
because that would be very cool. Yeah, I feel like the part of the writing I'm worst at is the promotional stuff. It's
It,
just if I have time to work on the writing, I'm like, let me actually write a little bit or try to submit something, and then that falls apart. So
I didn't get a chance to start really writing a lot until, my son was in high school. My last son was in
yeah,
high school, and I wasn't wasn't Boy Scouts and camping and all
yeah.
the cool stuff, where it was like I was running a business and, I was sort of in the back. So,
Mhm.
so what's your next major goal?
Um,
If something in your career that you want to see next,
I
is
would love to get a full novel published. I've had like a novella uh, go out, but I would love like a full length, big doorstopper novel.
all right.
Um,
It's a good
so
goal.
working on it. Yeah, because I feel like short stories are great, but like a novel's a whole different beast, so I really want to tackle that.
Now, you've written a couple novellas or novels. There's just nothing that you brought out, or are you,
I'm trying to find the right home for them. Yeah, it's because again, like that one, the one about that Aiden Holloway character, it's weird because they're like pulpy, so it's not a lot of horror publishers I think would have a hard time with it because it's not really aimed to scare. It like messes with horror tropes, but it's a kind of action adventure-y kind of a thing. So I'm looking for the right home for that one, but I would love to see that one come out.
all right? Someday we'll sit down and and pitch it, and we'll see if we can. We wouldn't have an interest at because we are starting. One of the areas we will do is horror, but we're
Okay,
looking at a lot of fantasy. Right now, we got a contemporary um, fantasy up on contemporary fiction,
okay,
almost chick lit kind of stuff. Um, Definitely an adventure
okay,
fantasy going on that is not quite epic, but not Legends and Latte kind of level either.
got it.
We're looking forward to that. But we want to open up to horror lit RPG, a lot of queer fiction, anything of that nature. Probably not sci-fi, probably, and we have done paranormal nonfiction already, and we are
Okay.
so that sort of was our part that we're sort of moving into. All
Yeah,
right, we are getting around to 15 minutes close. So, Mark, I want to say thank you for coming out here. And I know I have a couple links that I will post up with the um, uh, YouTube so that people know where they can find out more about you and follow you and um, sign up on your newsletter. You got a newsletter, right?
I'm still working on that.
Okay, we're working on that one, but
Yeah.
we gotta get these marketing pieces. They're tough. They suck up so much time. But
Yeah.
anyway, thank you for coming out
Thank
here.
you. Thank you for having me.
Give me a chance to see a little more of you. Thank
Thanks.
you.